Hey guys, welcome to Pressplay. I'm super excited to have Gagan Daga from Str8bat on today's podcast. And Str8bat is a very interesting sports tech startup that's building sensor based performance tracking tools for athletes, starting with cricket. They are based in Bangalore, in India. And their flagship product is a wearable bat sensor that helps players, coaches, and analysts measure real time batting performance. Welcome, Gagan.
Ah, Pleasure, Vinny. Thank you so much for having me over here.
Yeah, and this is from the outset, I must say that most of the other startups that have come in have something to do with streaming or media tech or uh, that part of the world. So this is a very refreshing change to that schedule. So super excited to have you here, and it's a story that's worth telling. So why don't you start by introducing yourself and what you guys are building at Str8bat?
Uh, so, Vinny, obviously, it was a pleasure meeting you in Dubai. It was good fun. I think we had a good tete-a-tete. And I said, I come from I'm a technocrat. I worked 15, 16 years in tech industry, primarily with a company called SAP. In India, people call that SAP, but a company which I really admired. Did a host of things there, Vineet. Yeah. And prior to that, I was with Infosys, did my engineering in Bangalore. I'm a Calcutta boy, not a Bengali. Uh, you know, nothing too exciting as a child. Uh, a lot of people called me, were you a cricket tragic? Somebody who really wanted to play the game and parents didn't allow to play the game. Nothing like that happened, Vineet. I loved the game, didn't work hard enough to play it at a serious level. So if at
Okay,
all, it was me to blame, nothing more. Okay, but
right.
what always inspired by this game. I was really enamored by this game always. Anyways, so I did my engineering. Uh, 18 interviews I took in 2002 before I got my first job.
Wow.
So yeah, I was that bad in interviews. Right? Uh, Keeping aside the timing and everything, but yeah. So and always I did 1 year stint with Infosys, obviously a great flagship company, but I never could relate with services. I always wanted to be part of a product. I wanted to be part of a story which you actually can create at the end user. Joined SAP, did a host of things there. Started a techie geek, became one of the first few architects of SAP in India. Um, Wanted to understand business. I come from Rajasthan. My roots are there. I was looking for the blood somewhere. Kahin Rajasthani blood should flow. I wanted to understand business, so really persisted with my CEO for 6 months to for him to hire me as his chief of staff. Uh, he got tired, I think, and he said, "Fine, come over." All right, became chief of staff. That was, I think, my formative years of being a professional. All right,
Wow. Okay.
learned a host of things. It was crazy, and after chief of staff, drove the management consulting piece where I worked with clients like Reliance, Vedanta, Unilever, Philips, and uh, and then was part of our, if you will, the strategy group for Asia Pacific Japan. Net, if you look at it, I did a lot of corporate BS. Yeah, and
Right,
then
right.
I was 33, 34. And I realized, what do you want to do in life? It's a tough question to ask, and yeah, I didn't have any answers. My midlife crisis came in very early in life.
Sounds like it.
Right?
Yeah.
I was struggling with it. I was completely like a headless chicken. I didn't know what to do. I thought I need a more intellectually stimulating environment rather than the corporate rat race, if you know what I mean.
Mm.
I said I really wanted to always pursue a bit of higher education. So I said, let me apply for an executive program at INSEAD Business School. It was one of my my only dream school. I got a reject, by the way, for a full time program there. I only applied there and I got a reject. I applied again. Luckily, this time they accepted me for the executive program. Went to Singapore and Fontainebleau, France for this program. For me, it changed my life for better. I mean, no two ways about it. If you ask me what's the inflection point for me, it was that 1 year at NCR. And one of the reasons was in the Blue Ocean Strategy class, Str8bat was conceptualized.
Ah,
How do you go after a category which doesn't exist to address the need of a market which is always there? Right? There's nobody in that ocean. You don't even know if that ocean exists. Right? And how do you actually? So, sports was always a big passion. Technology was always there. That's how we have always thought about things, brought it
wow.
all together. Took a sabbatical after my NCR program because a lot of people ask me is I've got this idea, all right?
Yeah,
Can I jump in? I'm like, believe me, idea is probably a 1% or 2% of it.
yeah, correct.
You know, I thought to myself, am I being too flirtatious? Is because I'm not liking something, I'm just gravitating towards something else,
Yeah,
right? Or is this some serious? Is this is serious, right? So I took a 6 month sabbatical, ensured that I didn't get salary that time. It was 6 months of no salary versus every month you get the salary
yeah.
in a bank account, and then start to figure out where to start from. Build my first MVP in that, if you will, and 2 nights I woke up with cold sweat beneath. Cold as in I was
Crazy.
drenched, and so was my pillow and everything. And I woke
Wow.
up and I dreamt about that I have joined corporate back. I was sitting in a boardroom and I just couldn't take it. So that was it. I was realized that this is what I'm intending to do. I am. I will be. I'll try to be an entrepreneur, and started my journey in 2017 as an entrepreneur. So my genesis to Str8bat is straight from midlife crisis. Believe it or not.
Wow. Wow. That is amazing. And that's so, I mean, it's inspiring for anyone who's trying and not getting through on anything they're trying to do, whether it's a college or a startup or a job. That's great. So let's dive straight in, right? What is Straight Bat all about?
If you allow me, can I ask a different question before I say
Yeah,
what? Why
sure.
is Str8bat about? Why? I think I'm a big sucker for why. Uh,
Hmm.
the way I look at it, and believe me, it's a bit of hindsight. I didn't jump in with that clarity. Like it sounds a bit intelligent, so I'll put it that way. But I didn't think with that clarity. But after 1.5 years, this was the question. Around 2.5 billion people participate in sport worldwide. That's 35% of world population.
Right.
35% of world population participate in a particular activity, sports.
Hmm. Hmm.
I think it's a good question to ask why.
Hmm.
Why? Right?
Yeah,
And
yeah.
you peel the onion different level, peel the onion to a metaphysical answer because that's where the core is. You realize that it is because people fall in love with sports.
Absolutely.
You found this exciting, gave a beautiful introduction, more than what I deserve, because you know that I'm doing something in the sports industry, and there was something which gravitated you towards it, right?
Correct.
Net, we fall in love with sports. A good question to ask is why do people fall in love with sports? There's so many other things which you can fall in love with.
Yeah.
I think my hypothesis is this that people fall in love with sports because it gives an opportunity for you to play. And the reason we all play is because we believe their potential to play better.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Absolutely. Correct.
When I'm hitting that ball towards covers, at that moment, I will never think someone, King Kohli, will hit that shot better than me. At that moment, I am the protagonist. I'm going to really cream the ball towards the covers.
You
At
are the
that very
hero of your story. Yeah, correct. Yeah.
exactly, right?
Yeah.
Although I know very well,
Hmm.
I'm nowhere. But at that moment, I take myself very seriously. I'll not be getting any bread out of that. I will not get any fame out of it, right? But I really want to play that shot really well.
Right.
So play better is the anchor of the entire sports industry.
Hmm.
Our hypothesis was play better is the problem in this industry. What you cannot measure, you cannot improve.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
Sports industry, if you ask me, is a bit laggard. One
Hmm.
industry which only has leading indicators.
Hmm.
it doesn't have, sorry. It only has lagging indicators. It doesn't have leading
Yeah.
indicators.
Leading in, yeah, correct.
It doesn't have. Think about it, right? How many runs you have scored, how many goals, assists, how many goals, how many aces, but
Yeah,
doesn't tell you what what does it take to get there. It's all very English. It's all very subjective. My viewpoint versus
right.
yours,
Yeah, yeah.
and that was the problem we wanted to solve. How do we help players play better, consistently across the spheres of, if you will, skill level?
Okay.
Second thing was anything which was remotely tech, remotely advanced, mentally was restricted to elite professionals.
Mm.
And I don't think
True.
so in today's world, anything is restricted to anybody.
Yeah,
Democratization is the word. So we
yeah.
wanted to democratize sports. To start with, we are democratizing the 22 yards of cricket. So that's the piece of why. Now,
Nice.
how do we do
Okay.
that? Right?
Mm.
I'll come to
Mm.
the what. We
Mm.
started analyzing the problem and we said that, you know what? Equipment is a common denominator across sports, most of the sports,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
If we can make the equipment talk in a language which a player and a coach can understand, I think there's some story there.
Yeah,
You know what I mean, right?
yeah.
She said, so what we did is that an IoT play, if you will, a wearable play with a lot of deep tech into it,
Right.
and we made the equipment talk.
Got it.
That's still a bit artistic way of communicating. What we do is that we capture motion without cameras. That's our core IP, right?
Gotcha.
We've
Yeah.
built algorithms, motion sciences, uh, a lot of physics, a lot of engineering calculus, applied deep tech solutions to capture motion without cameras, and then translates to metrics which are relevant for that particular sports. That's how we go about it. So this is like a product. It goes behind the bat like this.
Mm-hmm.
All right, if you can see behind the bat, this is a,
Yep.
product. It's just little sticker. It goes
Yep.
behind the bat, and it gives you instant feedback. Call it an iWatch or a boat watch, whatever for your equipment. It gets
Mm-hmm.
connected to your mobile and gives you metrics like bat speed, speed at impact, timing, sweet spot index, your bat coming from where, and so on and so forth. Right. So this is what we do. I hope I
Brilliant.
answered the question.
No, no, absolutely, absolutely. I mean, I hope the viewers who are watching this and listening to this will, of course, realize that straight bat becomes part of any cricketer, whether amateur or otherwise, their journey, right? Basically, every person who's learning cricket also wants to evolve. And straight bat becomes part of that evolution because you can paint a picture of the way the player is improving or not improving or doing certain things right or wrong and how they can improve.
Yeah.
That's what I like about the whole thing is that it basically is a part of the evolution of learning of a sport, and
And
you make it easier.
yeah, and I think, for too long we inspire players to play like somebody,
Hmm.
right? That's a great, but I think you can play like yourself,
Yeah, true,
right?
true,
Can
exactly.
you be the best version of yourself? Is a good question to ask. So how do you measure that? By knowing your game better and then pursuing what's working for you, what's not working for you. What worked for a certain player may not work for you.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
think a lot
exactly.
of players curtail their journey because they want to play like somebody else and they are not like somebody else. So I think
Yeah.
understand your game better and then pursue what is working for you rather than just blindly copying what has worked for somebody else.
No, that's brilliant. That's brilliant. And of course, as we think more about this, you will. I mean, the viewer and even me, we can realize and visualize how this could potentially work for other sports that have equipment, for example, right? So, I'm assuming that, of course, straight bat cricket is just the start.
I think we need a very beautiful point. I think we have both by strategy and accidentally we've hit a kind of a lottery.
Hmm.
Cricket is the second largest participating sport in the world, a huge white space, and hence a no-brainer from where we come from. But cricket is a game which is played 360 degrees. You play a straight hit, a dill scoop, a reverse hit, reverse ramp. It's a
Hmm.
360-degree play. We capture motion without cameras for cricket. We can capture motion for any sport. It gives us a huge unfair advantage from a tech platform perspective because my tech platform doesn't care you're playing sports. It doesn't care. It cares for motion. It's just
Yeah.
pure motion science,
True.
right?
True.
The
True.
hat is
Absolutely.
cricket right now. So our ability to move to other sport actually is definitely very strong.
Okay, that's great. And I'll get to the hardware bit in some time, but before that, let's understand more about what is happening with Str8bat as a company today. Where are you guys at, and what's happening with your, if you want to share, or if you can share some sort of details about your customers and the way that's expanding.
So um, where we are right now, we are in India, we are in Australia. Cricket Australia has been our one of the earlier customers. Rajasthan Royals in IPL has been an early customer. There are around 18,000 players on Str8bat platform. We have under 5 million shots captured in a platform.
Wow.
91% of our players have improved objectively since using Str8bat. That's the metric which I am
Oh, that's
tremendously
super.
excited.
That's super. Yeah.
91%.
91%.
So
Wow.
either the bat speed has improved, impact speed has improved, timing is improved, speed spot has improved. Either of them or all of them. All right. And how we how we looking at this, right? As I told you, we are democratizing sports. So this is just not meant for professionals,
Hmm.
right? But we are creating a category which doesn't exist beneath,
Hmm.
right? Now, if I ask you to put this sensor, you will ask me where do you put in, कहाँ ऐसे रखूं, how does it
Yeah.
switch on? By the way, it switches on just with this. That's all. You have to do just a swish and it switches on. You
Hmm.
wouldn't know. You wouldn't ask for this for any kind of watch because you know how the mechanics of watch works,
Hmm.
right? So it was very important for us to get, if you will, stamp of acceptance, pure play acceptance from the top.
Hmm.
So in 2019, we became, you know, Rajasthan Royals became a customer, Cricket Australia became a customer. Our product was, you know, uh, very different, right? It was not as sleek as what we have right now, but uh,
Okay.
even
Hmm.
as this thick box, right, all that jazz was there. But what they pushed us for accuracy, they pushed us for ease of use. Just imagine, why would an IPL player wait for 5 seconds also to get a piece of tech ready? No, that's what they
Yeah.
wanted, right? So we had to establish a product market fit, but
Hmm.
we needed paid customers then because they'll push us, right? But what we
Hmm.
also got was stories about players improving the game since using Str8bat,
Nice.
which we would not have figured out in the labs. Because once player starts using it, what if I tell you an IPL player improved his bat speed by 21%, impact speed by 27%, by a 4 degree shift in battery time. 4 degrees this. A
Wow.
4 degree shift improved this much. One of the most prolific rather, international batter figured out that his sweet spot consistency improved by 157% by changing batting set. I'm talking about a top level player in the world.
Unbelievable.
Uh,
Wow.
One of the prominent names in international cricket improved his offside consistency by around 14% by being 10 milliseconds extra behind the line of the shot. While the
Hmm.
metrics are impressive, believe me, what is more impressive is a degree can shift. A degree shift here can impact something.
Yeah.
Changing stance can improve your sweet spot in cricket. In 380 years of its glory, have not heard such metrics, have not even
Right.
heard a language like this,
That's
right?
amazing. Yeah.
So we went with them trying to establish credibility, trying to learn.
Mm.
We were not, we didn't have the perfect tool. We still don't have a perfect tool. We'll never have a perfect tool. I don't think any tool can be perfect. But we learned very aggressively, right? And we got
Mm.
to a product which can be launched to consumer. Obviously,
Mm.
survived the COVID, right? And
Mm.
2022, we launched our retail product, right, which makes any bat smart. Then what we did is that, especially from a go-to-market perspective, we tried the D2C way.
Mm.
Uh, Especially after COVID, everything was online. So, but we
Yeah.
realized that's not the right business model.
Mm.
30% CAC is not the right model. We need,
Yeah. Absolutely. Completely agree.
right? We realized that we were doing something wrong, and we
Mm.
understood the sport trade. Worldwide, sport is a very offline trade. It's not an online trade. Worldwide,
Yep.
you want to touch and feel, right?
Yep. Hmm.
Who controls the trade? The OEMs, right?
Yep.
And right. So we talked to OEMs. Very proud to say that SG, Sanskrit, Greenland, the most prestigious, I think, the biggest cricket brand. We partnered with them, and what we have introduced with them is the world's first smart pillow, where this entire piece of tech is actually integrated inside the willow itself as part
Oh,
of this tech,
fantastic. Nice.
right? So the bat itself is smart. The bat actually talks, right? Where the form factor is engineered to size of piece of paper,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
And that's really helping us propel into the trade business itself, right? So the go-to-market is work with the OEMs, create a new category, work with dealers, create awareness at a consumer level, and really do, if you will, the dhanda business. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Give
Yeah.
back with solid innovation, backed with data insights, giving value to the end users, right? So that's the way what we are thinking about it, rather than, just we are obviously then Amazon, people are buying from our websites, but I'm sure that a lot of people are going to different dealers and then coming back online also, right?
No, absolutely.
So
This
this is
is
what.
gold. This is gold, right? So I think this is really important for anyone who's watching this to really absorb, because I see startups across the board in this category of games, right? So gaming, ad tech, media tech, entertainment, and sports tech. I think this applies to everyone, but specifically even this in this category, because it's so dynamic. If it has video, or if it has a sensor, or if it's IoT, it's changing very quickly. Uh, right. So I think what's important here is distribution. And what you hit the nail on the head with saying that the faster you get to your distribution moat, the faster you can achieve success. Because otherwise, your sensor is a sensor, is
Correct.
a sensor.
Correct.
But the day you have SG saying that I will use this sensor, it becomes much more than a sensor. Then you have distribution. So I think that is, and I'm amazed. So this is also something that startups need to understand, that it's a game of patience. Overnight success took you 7 8 years. You know, so I think it's important to understand this, that it might take 5 or 6 years to crack the distribution code, but that's fine. That's totally fine.
So, I'll just add a couple of lines which I've learned,
Yeah,
and it might
sure,
sound a
sure.
bit philosophical. The two things which I've learned: product is king.
Hmm.
I mean, absolutely important, but go to
Yeah,
market is God.
totally, totally.
Especially with engineers,
Hmm.
startup founders, we need to know this. We
Yes,
underestimate go to market. Okay.
correct, correct.
Second, you talked about it's a game of patience, right? It's a game of patience while being constantly impatient, and I
Good one,
think
good
that's
one.
very important for you to realize. You have to be impatient every single day, but to be patient, because a lot of times it has happened to me. I have had meetings, very good meetings, excellent meetings. In fact, one thing you learn, that no meetings are bad. Every meeting is very good. Very
Hmm.
few actually results into something.
Hmm.
But you know, but a good meeting 5 years back actually can pay you dividend 5 years later. This has happened to me so many number of times. It's not funny.
Yeah, totally agree.
So I really think it's a game of patience, but you have to be constantly impatient.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah,
I mean,
totally agree. No, this is great, man. I think kudos to you guys for having stuck it out. I told you this when I met you in person as well, but kudos for you guys to have stuck it out. And dude, why don't we talk about your Shark Tank experience while we are at it? This is something that's worth sharing.
yep.
Aye?
So it was good. It was good fun. I mean, uh, first time for the first time personally for three of us, we had to be in front of a media, right? I mean, you give interviews, you talk, but and these are completely, by the way, for you, I'm sure you know, but for your viewers, there is no take here. There's no take. They
Right.
may edit it obviously, but there's no take. Okay, so there was a 4 day of we getting used to the entire thing, how it works, and so on and so forth. The pitch, it was to be delivered in Hindi to an audience. And it was very beautifully done because, they said that, an 85-year-old woman in a tier 3, tier 4 city should be able to understand you. And I think that's very powerful. And
Nice.
I don't think so. We have that skill, right? It's a very different skill to communicate to one and all in that short time because we think everything is
Yeah.
important as entrepreneurs, right? It's very difficult to empathize with that. So they helped us. They understood our vision. They helped us build a script. So we used to start at 7:30, end at 11:30 every day for 4 days. Okay, it was work.
Wow. Okay.
And then we created a demo pitch and everything. And we don't get to meet the sharks. They don't get to meet us before. So no preparation can happen. We go blind. They go blind.
Oh wow.
And it was I think a 2 hour, 10 minutes pitch, right? Which got obviously edited to around 30 minutes and so on and so forth.
Hmm.
But the experience was nice. I think I somehow feel that it's very wrongly named sharks. Uh, they were not sharky at all. They had good questions. They had tough questions, the way it should be. They had
Right.
no unreasonable questions. Uh, Obviously, we showed the product in full glory. Everybody was amazed with the tech, the product. Uh, the realization that hardware is hard came in very strong to all of us and to them also. It
Yeah.
takes that time, I mean, we have associations with ecosystems which anybody can be proud of. But how do you
Yeah.
build that momentum? The inertia is there,
Yeah.
and I think a couple of them, I know a couple of them came in, and it's a strategic, if you will, deal, as Aman said.
Okay.
So yeah, I'm looking forward to this, and so Shark Tank was good. It obviously gave us a huge impetus also, I
Yeah.
must say.
I'm sure. Yeah.
A lot of people got to know about us, uh, both as a company, as a brand, as people. So that gave us a huge flip blip there. It was a wonderful experience. Wonderful
Awesome.
experience.
Awesome. That's good. And then, did anyone from any of the sharks actually say that hardware is hard? Or
Yes,
I
yes,
mean,
yes. Actually, yeah,
yeah.
Kunal said that, and he I think he realized. I don't know if it's there in the show or not, but he said that it's amazing that you could persevere, and I think it's important, Vineet.
Yeah. Yeah.
Somehow I don't know. You've been in the world of entrepreneur on both the side of it, right?
Hmm.
What comes out are very few instant success, 3 year success, 2 year success, 4 year success.
Hmm.
Also comes out as big success as actually there's a 10, 15 years work which has happened,
Absolutely.
right? uh, and we think that you should just
Yeah.
नहीं होता है ऐसे. It doesn't
No,
happen that way,
it doesn't work. Doesn't work. Yeah.
right?
Correct.
In physics, inertia is big, and so is
Yeah.
business, right?
Right.
And how do you get over inertia? I think is very important. Uh, we still have inertia. I mean,
Right.
you right?
Yeah.
We have momentum, but there's still it's
Yeah.
not in going in the rate of knots, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I think we need to respect that.
Right. So maybe I can ask you this question that, you know, you coming from a SAP world, building a hardware product, like SAP is as software central as it can get, right? From there to look at hardware. What has your experience been building a hardware startup in India? Like, what would you categorize as learnings, and maybe startups who want to build in this space or who are building in this space? Um, yeah, they would love to hear your. I mean, you shared a lot of nuggets already, but if you want to just share and double click on the hardware is hard bit.
See, one thing we need, at least my learning, right? And I
Mm.
don't know if I'm right or wrong, but my learning has been that it really doesn't matter what your background is.
Mm.
It can be a strength. I'm convinced. I'm not from a sports industry. Sports industry, very close industry.
True.
Me not coming from sports industry was I turned out to be my biggest strength. Because you know what? Because we come from industry, what we say we try and deliver, and we actually deliver. Right?
Mm.
That's what
Mm.
it doesn't happen very regularly in some of the industries. So it was a very pleasant that somebody is actually saying something and delivering. So
Brilliant. Mm.
SAP is a software company, and I thank God that I worked in a software company for so long. You know why? Because I applied software principles in hardware. Because that's what I
Mm.
knew. You'll be surprised. We did 17 or 18, I don't remember exactly, different hardware iterations. Till we got this final product. 17, 18 hardware
Wow,
iterations. Not kidding.
amazing.
My first MVP was as this big and this adapter thick,
Oh
right?
boy.
And from there, we tried different places where the sensor should be. Uh, the idea was to fail.
And
The
fail
idea was
fast, possible. Yeah.
very fast, very fast.
Right.
Whatever happens, just test and fail, test and fail, test and fail. I have worked with a lot of hardware engineers. They never approved of what I was doing. They never
Okay.
approved of what I was doing. They
Mm.
said that it doesn't work this way. You need to give that time. There's a lead time. You'll get it wrong. I value time much more valuably than money,
Yeah. True. Mm.
right? Because
Mm.
with time you have so much more which is going in money. There's fixed
Yeah.
cost. There's right. I think people forget that.
Yeah.
So I think I approached this entire thing. I also had the product apart from being the CEO.
Okay.
I approached it this way that we'll fail fast. You know, Typical thing which I think everybody knows, but difficult to practice. So I applied the software principles, the lean management principles in this, quite frankly. And
Mm.
there's a big piece of software which is running, which people, because you see the physical product, if you see our app, it is the
Beautiful.
features.
Yeah. It's
Uh, you
beautiful.
know, this guy has to talk seamlessly to the
Right.
app, right? It cannot be a very discrete experience, right? So we did all of that, and last year I think released around 17, 16 or 17 releases last year itself. So basically, we're talking about once in
Nice.
every 3 weeks or so, we are releasing updates,
Right.
right? So the
Beautiful.
whole
Yeah.
idea is that, scope it well, but time is fixed. And you have to release updates every 3 weeks, 4 weeks. You cannot make customer wait because you think that's not perfect. Release, learn, release, learn, release, learn. So actually, being from software helped me a lot. I'll be very
That's good to
honest.
know. Yeah. Yeah. That's good to know.
Uh, I didn't have the the burden of knowledge of being in the hardware industry, and this is the way it works. So I could
Got it.
break some of the norms, if you will.
Yeah.
Some of the hardware engineers didn't like me.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Because you're thinking outside the box and thinking in a different way, right? Which they're not used to.
because I was never in the box, so I didn't have
Yeah.
to know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So for me, it was easy. I'm like, why the hell you'll do this, right? And for
Yeah.
them, it was
Yeah.
like, oh, what the hell are you talking about? I mean, this is not the way
Yeah.
it is done,
Yeah.
right? But I think that really helped us because we really could get the product right. And I think so far we have succeeded because we got the product right. We got the product right because we eliminated what was wrong
Yeah. Yeah. No.
without
So
wasting
this
a lot of money.
this is so amazing because I'll tell you what, on the investor side, right? We
Hmm.
the investor community that I sort of have seen over the last few months and years, they tend to go with a certain template that, okay, if a person has deep experience and connects in a specific industry, their chances of success or the probability of success is higher. so we should put money there. There is a school of thought. Very few investors that I know of, especially in India, will make counterintuitive bets. And what you have said so beautifully is exactly why the VC community needs to think outside the box. Because what you said about applying software principles to hardware, right? And that is the kind of change that maybe this industry requires. And
Yeah.
you can move quickly,
Yes.
right?
And you
So
won't wait for
yeah,
the final product. It won't be
yeah,
final. It
it
won't
will
be
never
final.
be final.
It
Correct,
won't be
correct. Even if I ask you today, is your product final? You say, "Nahi, bhai, mere ko, I want to try something else here or try something else there." Um,
final. Manufacturing, contract manufacturing gets tired of me that, how, and you know what? So just to give you a bit of a thing, right? In hardware, for people who are, there's something called non-recurring expense. You have to invest into tools, you have to invest in jigs, you have to, right? The assembly line has to be created, right?
yeah,
You change one
yeah,
thing and something in the process changes. It
yeah,
requires change. So there is a non-recurring expense.
yeah.
And if you
Right.
change that, there's again an expense. Obviously, you can't expense huge amount of money, but
Yeah.
but you have to objectivize it. Can I afford
Absolutely.
10K? But that will give me, I move to market fast and rather investing 200K. I think
Right.
those are the things which people have to ask, because
Yeah.
you cannot just say that, it's expensive and hence I'll go right first time. You will never go right first time,
True.
especially when
True.
you know innovation business. If you go
Yeah.
right first time, either your definition of right is wrong or you're damn lucky. I have not met anybody who's damn lucky. Have you met anybody who's damn lucky? I
No.
haven't met.
No one. No one. No one.
So that probability is zero.
Yeah.
The probability of that having is very high, and that is very costly.
I've met a lot of people who failed a lot and are damn lucky. Let's put it that way.
Oh,
Right.
nice.
That's happened. But otherwise, you have to keep failing
Yes,
to get your luck.
exactly, exactly.
you know.
So
No. Interesting. Interesting. Now, tell me. Okay. I need to double click a little more on this hardware bit because I think it's important. What would you say to those people about who have concerns around scalability of hardware?
yeah. Hmm.
I mean, there is a school of thought. I mean, in your case, and the way I look at it is that if your hardware is solving a problem or doing something which is in your case creating a different need, then it's a question of getting a quick success in a different geography, for example, or like a nice distribution partner who has a marketing engine behind it or some sort of a mode to get access to customers quickly to sort of distribute faster. But how do you view or let's put it the other way, how do you view scalability for Str8bat?
There are two questions you're asking.
Hmm.
Vineet. One is
Yeah,
how
yeah,
do you scale your backend?
yeah, 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 yeah.
Another is how do you scale your demand,
Both sides, yeah.
right? And both sides need not be aligned. Will very seldom
Okay.
be aligned, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Sometimes there's a lot more demand and we don't have the scalability here, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
So I'll go top down first. I mean, so
Hmm.
from the, if you will, supply side, right?
Hmm.
You try and always punch above your weight
Hmm.
there, which means that you better tie up with somebody who can help you scale in the future, even if it means that unit economics is not working out now.
Hmm. Hmm.
Because if you work with somebody who's very small, right, and help you probably, because they're immature, maybe you'll save a couple of dollars there. But if scaling will be a problem, you are dead duck, because then, anyways, the entire bet is that you will scale, but you're not ready to scale.
True.
What I'm trying to
True.
say is that if you are, let's say a Series A company, have the ecosystem of Series C.
Hmm.
Now that
Hmm.
requires founders' vision, because
Hmm.
you won't have money to have a Series C kind of ecosystem.
Yeah. True.
So you need to have a network. You need to build your network. You need to get people skin in the game
Hmm.
who has the network, because you don't have the network. So you have to
Yeah.
get somebody who has the network to and have their skin in the game to sell that vision to them, and he or she will get you that Series C kind of partner at Series A stage. I think that's super critical. People don't think like that. Yep, that's a
Interesting.
good product to have, and it'll
Hmm.
solve it. Market doesn't wait for you. Market will
Hmm.
never wait. Okay,
Yeah.
and there, I think a bit of money spent, I think, is a good idea. Be frugal.
Okay.
You'll be surprised how frugal we are, but that's a different story. And it's possible to be frugal, by the way. I think it's possible to be frugal. I believe, at least my learning has been.
Right.
Right? Demand side, right? Um, our strategy, obviously, OEM, dealer, consumer.
Hmm.
But what we have learned is that it cannot be top down. Top down is a good communication, but you need to create the pull from consumer. That's how you
Right.
get repeat orders. That's how, right? So marketing tailwind is very, very important.
Got
Success
it.
stories are very important. There's so many players. I said 91% of players have improved batting since using straight bat. More than 400 players at a state level and above have played with straight bat at a state level and above, right? So worldwide, there's so many success stories which are there, which needs to be now out. Obviously, we have player confidentiality and so on. So which you cannot tell us. So I cannot tell you the name of the player because
Yeah.
they are my customers, right? But we are now working with a lot of different entities, players who have really benefited from it, and their stories to come out,
Awesome. Yeah.
right? So I think really that, call that marketing engine, call that awareness engine, call that uh, just pure play telling your story out there, storytelling,
Yeah.
right? Needs to be
Correct.
done a very aggressive way,
Hmm.
right? And so create the churn in demand, but be ready for the
Got it.
scale, because I don't think so. Chance of success anyways is very, very low.
Hmm.
You can't have multiple chances of success, Vineet.
Yeah.
Right? So if you get a chance of success, it will be a pity if you're not there to grab on it. So invest on your back end a bit. Don't go full ball, but
Hmm.
have your thing tight there so that in 4 weeks' time you can put 10,000 products in the market right
Hmm.
there, right? While you're
Hmm.
producing right now thousands only, and create the churn. And it will take time to, at least, I don't know. A lot of people have done it better than what we have done, but it takes time to create that market churn.
No,
ऐसे नहीं होता.
absolutely. 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 It's amazing. I mean, I've seen this even just pushing content out on thought leadership and on my thesis, etc., on LinkedIn or these channels. It's amazing how consistency works
Yes.
and how well consistency pays back. So I think that is what you said about your giving the story back of people who are using your product. It's so important that startups who are building in this space, for them to accelerate their growth, it's important to get this done, especially if you're expanding out to other geos like you have plans. Beautiful, beautiful, man, Gagan. This was very enlightening. I hope our viewers and listeners found this useful the way I did. At least this was a gold mine of nuggets of someone who is really, is there in the trenches building something revolutionary. I must say, I don't know of any other product that's changed the market the way you guys have. Let's put it this way: created a market the way you guys have in India. And so any creation or any sort of category that's coming to life will take time. So wishing Gagan Daga and team at Str8bat the best of luck for the future, for the present, and always a well wisher. Thank you.
Vinny, thank you so much. One of my ex-bosses used to keep saying, keep pushing. Whenever he used to
Yeah,
meet me, and if he meets me now, so he'll say, keep pushing, he's retired. So I think you have to keep just pushing, and that's what you're trying to do. Hopefully, we'll get there.
sounds good, man. Good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.